Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks. We are now on a one, two, three, four, five, six. This is a 6 game win streak.
Sounds about right. Last loss was the Buccaneers, which
Well,
seems
we were
like a
we were two
million
and
years
two.
ago.
What are we now? Are we 8-2?
They're 8-2.
Yeah, 6 game win streak, baby.
It's crazy. I mean, it's been this team night and day from when that last loss happened.
Oh, we were ready to storm, the art museum with torches and then take it all the way to Lincoln Financial Field and the NovaCare, and They that bye week did wonders for this team.
Yeah, it came at the right time. This was obviously the biggest game. Very nice win. But this one, like we talked about it before, this was the validity they needed. Like
Yeah,
I didn't care how they won this game. This would have winning it in general would have just put them, put them
which
higher up in the rankings. The other ones were, where you're like, oh, you got to beat the Giants better. The Browns hung around too long. This was a good team they beat.
yeah, I think it was a little sloppy in the beginning, classic Eagles this year, but I mean, honestly, that game looked like scoreboard wise it looks close, but like the end of
No,
that game we
second half
really
that
we
was
really
run
blew them
away.
out. They had a garbage touchdown at the end. Um
I
I mean
mean,
if
Jake
Jake
Elliott cost you 7 points right there. That would have been a 33-18 game if he just
yeah,
could kick.
I don't
It's,
know. I don't know what it is, but all the good kickers are like not all of them, but like a lot of them are struggling. Like Tucker for the Ravens has missed a ton this year.
this was a
Um,
bad week for kickers, which made me feel a
yeah.
little bit better about Elliott because then I was ready to just go sign someone else after that game.
Well, it was funny because I was thinking about it. I was like, he's really been here since the Super Bowl season, and so that's like
Yeah.
eight eight seasons, the eighth season. Um, and I was like, damn, like he actually. I mean, we are gonna have to replace him soon. Like not soon, but like eventually.
I Kickers age fine.
It
He's got
depends. It
plenty of
depends on
years.
health. I feel like kickers who have injuries later in their careers, then they teeter off. But like, I think like what's his name, like Gostkowski and like Jay Philly, they played till they were like
If Terry was 100 years
Yeah,
old, I'm
Vinatieri
not.
too. Yeah,
I'm more worried. I'm not worried about his age. I'm more worried about he better get it back together. You can't miss. You can't give up 7 points on kicks that you should be making.
true. He
That
missed the
was
extra
that.
point.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was
That's
funny.
that entire touchdown you gave up.
It's funny. I went to Nick's place when we were watching the game, and he was like, he went to go to the bathroom after we scored, and he was like, you know what? Let me just watch this just in case like I got to make sure he makes it. He fucking missed the extra point. I was like, you should have went to the bathroom. Like, what are we
Man,
doing
that's the thing
here?
with kickers. You don't want like you would like to see them, they miss one, fine, whatever, it's whatever. They miss another one, you're concerned. You got to put that extra point in, man. That the place was on the edge of their seat. Everyone was looking at it because you're worried, but you got to win. I mean, I'll say I'm happy that the biggest issue we have is a kicker.
Yeah.
You know, I think all in all, I mean, positives. Everyone besides the first half offense and Jake Elliott. I thought everything else was great. Jalen, like to see him clean it up a little bit longer. I still think he's holding the ball too long, and he had some real inaccurate throws. I mean, there was a couple of throws where he just throwing them in out of completely out of bounds. And he missing guys completely.
Well, yes or no? Do you think he actually got a concussion?
I'm gonna say no because I feel like
Hmm.
the day and age it is now, like even if he teetering on concussion, they weren't going to send him out there. But I don't know. I'm not a neurologist, but I just think the way the NFL is now, even if you're closer, even if there's any sign of a doubt, they'll probably pull you.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still a little. I mean, it's water under the bridge now. And the game was a week ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, because the way he got hit, like he smacked the back of his head, and then he got his face pushed in the grass a couple drives later. But
He got
yeah,
roughed
that
up,
one
man.
throw where he just blatantly missed AJ Brown was like,
Oh, it was yeah. Man, that is the issue right there on offense. Because I mean, Saquon Barkley balled out again, but the guy had
of
26
course.
carries. If he's gonna have 26 carries every week, I don't really think
And
that
however many
he's gonna be able
catches
to. Yeah, like I don't think he's gonna be able to stay fresh for the rest of the season. Like
he does,
Gainwell gives you.
he does sub out a lot. Which anytime he gets a big play, he tends to take himself out.
Yeah, I know,
Um,
but Gainwell had 4 rushes. Like every play Saquon's in, he's touching the ball
I mean that was
almost.
yeah, it was a weird. I don't know. That's I mean he
Well, you
I think now he
it,
is finally in MVP voting. I think he's unless it was a different one, but I saw he was like number five because
I
now
think
Josh Allen's number one. But
you don't want to burn him out, but part of the problem is also like this is where the slow starts and Jalen inconsistency is killing you, is because
mm,
you needed him to win that game. Offensively, he was all you were going to give him. You Hurts threw 28 passes. Barkley had 26 rushing attempts.
mm.
Like you can't go pass for carry with Barkley. The guy's going to burn out. You're not going to have him fresh, and he's so vital to this offense. I'd like to see the passing game pick it up a little more. It looked much better in the second half, but Jalen's just holds the ball too long and inaccurate.
Yeah, I think first half again he definitely struggled a bit. I mean it was what 6-7 or 7-10 at halftime, I forget. But yeah, they I mean Washington left also, let's give our defense credit. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
because I was reading an article today and it was like overreaction or not, like Washington's offense is going in a big slump right now. I was like, well, they because they're like back-to-back games, their numbers are really down. I was like, well, they played the Steelers defense, which has been really good, and then they
It's
played the
true.
Eagles defense, which has been also been really good. So
Yeah.
maybe that's just a sign that they ran into two juggernaut defenses.
Hey, we were talking about this. Who's going to be more important for us going forward? Who's going to win us more games, offense or defense? I think it's an easy 70-30 now from what it looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, the first half, the game was 7-3. And in
Mhm.
all the Eagles' possessions, you had a missed field goal, a punt, another missed field goal, a punt, and you drilled one field goal at the end of the game
Hmm.
or at the end of the half. Like the fact that your defense kept you in that game in the first half, like that was incredible. Because a couple of those times they were getting great field position and they really couldn't do anything. Everyone is balling out in the defense. It's amazing.
The turnaround has been amazing. I think what I really think it is that the D line and the linebackers will able to settle in, and now that this like since this is Vic's scheme, they were able to see like how he wants them to play, how their responsibilities work out, and then when they put Cooper DeJean in its slot, that helped
Oh
so
yeah.
much. And Quinion over in Guantanamo Bay has been locking everyone down.
Quintana Bay. I like that. I haven't heard that one.
I did
That's a
not
good
make
one.
that up. I did not make that
That's a
up,
good one.
but it's my favorite nickname I've heard of his.
That's
Um,
nice.
it's like
I
Rios
mean,
Island, Guantanamo Bay, you
he,
know?
he really is a number one quarter. What he did to Terry McLaurin was brutal. Like all game, you heard the announcer just say, "Where is Terry McLaurin? You got to get him the ball." I'm like, it just wasn't there. I mean,
Scary
hats
Terry.
off to Jaden Daniels, not making a rookie mistake and throwing to a guy that's not open, forcing him the ball.
True.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's the perfect storm. Fangio system's clicking now. People are buying in. The
Mhm.
rookies, the young guys are just have grown up so much quicker than we thought.
Oh yeah.
DeGene is a baller. Quinion is arguably one of the best cornerbacks in the league already.
Yeah.
Carter,
Crazy.
this was the best game I saw for Jalen Carter, and I
Yeah, and
felt
he
really
didn't
good
even have
about
like
it
a good stat game, but he was like I saw him like
everywhere.
not double fisting, got but like, was
Yeah.
being double teamed and he was still getting through.
This was the live up to the hype kind of game because I like Carter and I'm not going to hate on the Eagles, but I thought kind of the love for him and the hype for him was almost getting overblown. Like everyone talking about, oh, he's one of the top interior linemen. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. That was a legit elite
That
game
yeah,
from him.
that was a hello, I'm still here game.
Yeah, that was
Um,
a hello, I'm kicking the door down. He was everywhere. He's been great. Dean's been great. Baum is arguably an all-pro linebacker this season.
they need to get his contract extension done before his contract price goes up.
Yeah, I know that one's gonna be a tricky one because if you're bombed, you probably want to see what the market looks like. But then again, linebackers aren't getting paid. If you're in a good system, you like it, maybe you do sign. I don't know. I'll let Howie work that one out. But the guy has been amazing.
Yeah, I think Cooper DeJean is the last I saw in the defensive rookie of the year odds. He's number five, and Quinion was number three behind Jared Verse and what's the Colts guy? Latu?
Oh, the pass rusher, yeah, from UCLA.
Yeah.
The Jared Verse is baller, man. I don't.
Yeah, I think he might have been who I predicted in our season prediction episode. I don't remember, but
Not to get distracted, that the Rams. Say what you want about all those first round picks they traded. They've drafted better than almost every team in the league the last couple of years.
for a team that went all in, they are surprisingly still competitive because a lot of times a team that does that, they would fall apart and be like garbage.
I know.
They
Look at them. They have
still,
Youngtown, Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, Jared Verse looks like a stud. I like that guy Fisk from the
hmm,
Florida State. There's a rookie. Got a couple nice guy pass rushers. Nice job they did there. For going all in, like you said, and trade every pick you had, and then let
yeah,
your best player in franchise history retire. Pretty good, but not to digress.
yeah. But the defense has been super, super good. I mean, they're last I maybe not in sacks or takeaways, but every other defensive stat, they're pretty much top 10 right now, which is, if you told me that week two, I would have been like, well, there's got to be some pretty crazy progression going on because they did not look like they were going to get there. But we're number
Yeah,
one in, I think, total yards allowed and like seven in points allowed or something. Yeah, it's like all the stats are, and rushing, our rush defense is improved drastically as well. Because that, remember, we
no,
were getting
yeah,
gashed first couple of weeks of the season. But
all around. No problem at all. The defense deserves its flowers,
mhm,
but I feel like we're also in a position where they almost have to perform that well. You play a good team, at halftime, you're losing by at least two scores, at least.
yeah.
Against like an elite team, like Washington's a good team. The defense just played out its mind. These slow starts are killing them
Oh,
because
I
they can't
know.
just rely on the defense being the best in the league and being elite and just keeping their offense alive when they only play a half of football. Like the offense literally only plays the second half of football. It's like they don't even show up in the first half.
I mean, we
The past,
scored we scored 20 points in the fourth quarter.
this is what I mean, man. But like this is, and the other thing that concerns me is Barkley's amazing, and he's won us so many games offensively, but the Commanders do not have a good secondary. They do not have a good pass defense.
No,
This was why they went and got Marlon Humphrey. And you're telling me that Hurts can only get
Lattimore.
221 yards, or Lattimore, yeah. They could only do 221 yards to the air, 18 to 28 against the secondary that was getting torched every single
I
week.
mean, yeah, but they were running. I mean, Jalen ran the ball 10 times. Kenny G ran the ball
They
four
had to.
times. Saquon went
They
10.
had to run the ball. They weren't scoring.
Well, because I mean, what like Washington adjusted though. Like that, let's not forget that's a Dan Quinn defense. Like he probably knew they wanted to. He probably thought, oh, they're gonna try and take advantage of the pass game, and so we're gonna try and isolate that because it honestly is easier for them to shut down our pass game than it is for them to shut down Saquon. I would argue, but
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, but all right, the Steelers threw Russ had three touchdowns against them the week before.
okay.
Daniel Jones, let me hit you with this. 20 of 26, a buck 74, and two touchdowns against this Washington secondary in a very close game.
Mm.
Like they're I would have liked to see a little more in the passing game. Caleb struggled against them quite a bit, but yeah, he's a mess. They played the Panthers before
I
that. I'm
mean,
not going to bother with that.
no,
Um,
yeah, but no interceptions. 18 of 20. It's not bad. Like I'm not
I mean,
really
Lamar
worried
was
about it.
20 of 26, 323 yards, only had a tutty and interception, but that was also a insane Derrick Henry game. But still 20 of 26, like they pass offense wise, graded as a whole, just the pass offense. Graded as a whole the entire game. I'm probably leaning towards a C for how many missed throws Jalen had, for how many little explosive plays they had. AJ Brown had the one that he took a whole bunch of yards after the catch. And the sacks that he took. I mean, Jalen got a beating, mostly because he was getting these sacks
That
that,
first half, yeah.
like that's my bigger issue. Like I just in this age, unless you have Derrick Henry, most running backs don't take 26 carries a game and survive the whole season.
Sure. But I don't know. He's not gonna I think it was just like that's how the game went. Like they were struggling. They switched it up a little, and at halftime they came out and started running the ball a little more.
I mean, that's how they
Um,
do it. That's how they do it every week. They rely on, but Barkley is the most vital point person in the
that's
offense.
why he should be MVP.
I listen, I don't agree. I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying that this is almost a weekly thing where you struggle a ton in the first half. You can't throw them all. And eventually it's just you force feed Saquon Barkley, and he's so good. He just scores points by himself.
Well, it'll be a good indication if there's a game where Saquon is shut down and we see Jalen step up. I don't. Jalen's been really like good lately, so I'm not really too concerned. I mean, again, I do think he was missing some throws, but I also think like I mean, let's Devontae dropped the ball. I think somebody else, Calcaterra maybe.
Well,
I
I mean,
forget.
it's not all on
Somebody else dropped the
Hurts. Don't get me
ball.
wrong. It's not all on Hurts. It's the Pats game as a whole. I'd like to see. I didn't see a lot of moments where like these guys were wide open, and Jalen was missing them. Or they were wide open and he wasn't hitting them. It's as
I
a
know
whole.
AJ looked like he was frustrated because he was working that one cornerback, but
He should have, man. They have a very bad secondary. AJ Brown should have eaten. I wish they put more priority into feeding AJ Brown the ball like
well,
they do with Barkley.
they were trying to feed Jahan Dotson. That
Yeah,
didn't
the
really
revenge
work.
game that never happened.
One catch for 8 yards. Woohoo.
I think he dropped one too. That
He
was
did.
that was a rough one.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. So, but yeah, Saquon had 2 catches for 52 yards. So,
It'd be nice if we could just come out. We have the perfect recipe. Come out strong in the first half. You run the ball with Barkley in the second, and a defense that doesn't give up points. When it's the complete opposite, they don't show up in the first half. The defense keeps them alive because they're playing out of their mind. Second half comes in, they just roll on. They go 30 carries for Saquon Barkley. They don't give the ball back. Defense makes a couple stops. Game's over. Not a bad
yeah.
recipe, but you'd feel a lot more comfortable if they could do something in the first half or air it out a little bit.
Yeah. Um, I still think it's funny though that now we're getting these I mean it's just internet trolls, but like on I saw some posts this week where it's like, are the Eagles Super Bowl contenders, this and that? And people would comment like they haven't played anyone good. Like who have they played? Who have they beaten? And it's like, well, they just casually shut down the passing and receiving leaders in the NFL and made
Yeah,
them look not so. I mean, the Bengals have struggled this year, but they still are lighting the scoreboard up.
yeah, that's
Um,
true.
so I don't know. I think Stafford's going to be a great test for the defense. I think
Yeah,
the Rams defense is a young um, defense that has some holes, but they're well coached. So I think that's
our
also a good test
secondary
for
is
the
going to be
offense.
they're going to be in for a day. I know. I don't think T
This
Higgins
will be the
played when we
best.
played them.
This is probably the best receiver group we've faced all year.
Yeah, because I don't think Higgins played when we played the Bengals. Obviously a chase, but
Yeah.
now you're gonna have Puka and Cup. You can't just like Quinn Young can take one of them, but who's taking the other?
Well, DeJean and Slay, one of them's going to probably pair up. So we'll see.
They
But
beat the Rams. I mean, I like the Rams. I think the Rams are good. They beat the Rams this week. We're the second best team in the NFC, and it's not close. If they can beat the Rams, it's a distance now. It's the Lions and the Eagles, and it's everyone else a mile away.
I already
I
think
would
it.
argue the Lions are pretty far ahead of the Eagles, though.
Yeah, the Lions are. I don't. I can't remember last. I mean, maybe like the Chiefs when they were scoring more a couple years ago, but like I can't remember a time when like a team was this terrifying, like offensively. Like
Yeah, probably
they put up
Mahomes breakout
52
year.
on the Jags.
I mean, well, it's not really impressive, but
I know,
that
but
they were
like,
also so defeated. I couldn't believe they had their starter still out there at the fourth quarter. Eventually, you got to take your foot off the gas pedal.
did you see the Dougie P's press conference this week?
Oh, hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad. He looks like he just doesn't give a fuck. He's like, just get me out of here. Like,
So Shad Khan said that this is the best roster he'd ever seen. Who told him that? I don't know. I wasn't privy to those conversations. So it wasn't you? No, no, no.
he like simultaneously like recovered himself and then shot down his own team as not being good.
Yeah, I think that's a weird development, man. They really stink. I don't know where it went wrong there,
I don't
but they
know.
are awful.
Yeah, and I don't there's a part of me that also thinks like he actually might not get fired, but then there's a part of me that thinks he probably will get fired.
At this point, I think it might be a mutual leaving. I don't know if he even sticks around. Like your
Yeah.
team's like, they you just lost because the thing is you just locked into Lawrence. That's the problem. is now you're look at the Giants. They're paying Daniel Jones a ton of money. They had to let guys like McKinney and Barkley go, and they are
Mm,
trash, and Daniel Jones is trash. Lawrence isn't Daniel Jones, but the Jags aren't going to get any players to help fix this. They're going to probably lose more players than they're going to sign because they're paying Trevor Lawrence an insane amount of money.
yeah. Daniel Jones is also the like fourth string quarterback now for the
Yeah, it's long overdue. Long overdue.
this is the Russell Wilson from last year experience where they're like, we don't want to pay you if you get hurt. So you're gonna just be on the bench now because
Eh,
you're not gonna be on this team next year.
He
But
should have been he should have been benched 3 years ago, but we digress.
yeah. But yeah, I think overall Eagles again, the slow starts are definitely concerning, but they find ways to win, which is the mark of a good team. Um there seems to be staying healthy-ish now. They got Goddard involved this week. I mean, he had a bad fumble, but luckily Calcaterra was on it. Um Saquon
I
is
love I
still all
love
over
me some
running.
Calcaterra. You hate him,
Saquon,
but I love him.
I just wish he would block. He's just not good at blocking.
He's a
Um,
hustle guy.
sure. Um, and then the defense is just balling. So I think this stretch here is gonna be hopefully good for us. Um, because in the law, I'm assuming like out of these next four games, we'll lose one of them. So we'll see like what was the problems. Maybe they can fix them, whatever it may be. And but otherwise, I mean. I honestly, the way the Ravens been playing lately, I think they can beat the Ravens. Steelers don't scare me. They're a
No.
they're a I think they'll play a close game. I don't necessarily think Russ is going to have a better chance to lead a game-winning drive than Jalen is at this point in his career. And then the Rams, I think, is a coin flip because they're fighting for playoffs. They have to keep pace in that
Hey
division.
man,
So
we went through the schedule last week. This is by far the biggest game. Like we said, you could still
mm,
drop the Ravens and Steelers game and comfortably get the 1 seed because of the Lions finished with a tough schedule. Now,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah, you want to win your conference games.
like you could comfortably drop those games to be fine. You win one of them, you're in a great position. You win two, you're the number 1 seed. I mean, there's no way the Lions finished that tough home stretch at the end. I forget who it was. We went through it. Like their last 3 games are tough. Our last three
Yeah.
games are cake. See, I mean, it'll be good. I'm feeling really good. This was the game. I didn't care how they won it. I just needed them to win
Yeah,
it,
this
and
was
they won.
this. I mean, if they lost the game against the Commanders, we'd be having a whole different
Oh
conversation.
yeah, it would have burned the place down.
We would have
Do
been
we
back
give
to
credit?
week four all over again.
Is Nick Sirianni the greatest halftime coach of all time? Because like this is a consistent thing in his tenure.
He's a
They
rah-rah
always start
guy.
slow.
Whatever whatever he's putting in their
He is a
Gatorade
rah-rah
at
guy.
halftime, man, give me some of that.
Is he
But
he's just so woefully prepared in the first quarter, or he's just such a great halftime motivator? Because I could see him then. Nick probably gives a good speech at halftime. I could definitely see a little
well,
Friday Night Lights kind of esque.
he's definitely like more of a player's coach than a coach's coach. Like he cares more about connecting with the athletes on the field and like, checking in on them and like trying to help them be better. Whereas like other coaches are more like, this is the game plan. Like this is like, they coach a better game plan, but I think Nick's good at managing players and managing
I think
um
he's not a big X and O's. Like I wouldn't trust him with,
personalities.
pre-snap motions and, working on blocking assignments. Now, will he get his players run through a brick wall? I believe that. I
Seems
believe
like it.
that.
I
Yeah.
mean, even last year when they were saying like, is he gonna get fired? All the players were like, why would he get fired? Like, just led us to the playoffs, this and that. So, but we'll see. I mean, trust me, two bad losses in a row will turn this ship around real quick, and people will
Very
be calling
true.
for
But
his
right now
name,
we're on a
and he'll have
high.
to shave his head again. But,
That's
but I think it's a good hits on the Eagles there. I will say before we move on to the rest of the games, we do have our new a new shirt on the merch line.
love it. Oh, I didn't even see the bottom. Well, give me the full body effect. I didn't see the bottom. The backwards arrow. Very nice. Dig it. I dig it.
Yeah, we got the Saquon framed, hanging in the Louvre,
Love it.
backwards hurdle, and it reads little plaque, the backwards hurdle with the Saquon's name. So yeah, cool little shirt. You can go on our Instagram or YouTube. The links are there to get to our Etsy. And that's where you can buy we have some hats, some hoodies. But yeah, this is a new
Christmas
shirt and
season.
yeah. And
All right.
perfectly priced at $26 for Saquon Barkley.
Oh,
So
very cute.
very affordable
Does
for
he
the
be
holidays.
now? Obviously, that's his best highlight of the year. Do we get one better than that, or is that like pretty amazing? We can't, top that. I think he's got something else in him. Like
I don't know. Madden just put it in there and they just announced it as a new move in the game. So
it's insane. I don't even know how you would
um,
get that lined up, but
yeah.
whatever.
No, I mean every week I don't remember if he did anything against the Commanders, but when he against the Cowboys, when he did that split the defenders and they ran into each other, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty good. Yeah,
But I'm sure he'll do like a DDT or something, or he'll jump off the top rope,
fan of that.
some Hell in a Cell action. But
There you go.
yeah, something crazy.
All right. What about the other games here? Which ones caught your eyes?
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna go around the horn, but I will say um, the Jets are a laughing stock.
We already had a
Um,
funeral for them, did we? I can't remember. I think
I
we did.
think did
We
we?
mourned
Who
their.
did? Who else did
I'm
we have a
pretty.
funeral for? Oh, the no, we were going. Yeah, we had a funeral for the Jets. We were debating the Bears. I think
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker. I felt that one. I was like,
I saw the
really
stat.
wanted
The
that in
Bears.
Chicago.
The Bears have not beaten Green Bay very much in the last 20 years.
You know, it's
It's
odd. We had two of those games because the Packers obviously beat the Bears. Surprisingly, I mean, the Packers beating the Bears doesn't surprise me at all.
yeah.
The Ravens cannot beat the Steelers. They've like lost like
I think
eight
Lamar's
of the
what,
last 10.
1-4,
Once Dorska, yeah,
something like that.
like you think the Steelers haven't been that great lately, and the Ravens have. It's kind of mind-boggling, and they lost again. I don't know what it is about the Steelers, man. They just cannot beat them.
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah.
Is
So
Russ is Russ back going off that game?
I would think so, and I think it's funny when Mike Tomlin, I think he was like, uh, when they were like, "Well, what are you confident in your decision to start Russ over Justin Fields?" And he was like, "Well, that's why they pay me a lot of money. That's why I get paid the big bucks to make those decisions." And
Hey, listen, he definitely saw something in camp because there was no like flipping. They started all pretty well, and he went right to Russ
I mean,
without even blinking, and
if
it's looked pretty
if
good.
I mean, if the season ended today, I would vote for him for Coach of the Year. Um,
I don't know about that. Oh, I like what Campbell's doing.
yeah,
Um,
or Campbell, but
yeah, I like what Stefanski's doing, or not Stefanski. What's the dude in Minnesota? I'm blanking on his name.
um,
Uh,
I also am forgetting his
O'Connell.
name. O'Connell, yeah, Kevin O'Connell.
Your boy Peyton, Sean Payton definitely has to be in that conversation. I don't know how, but the Broncos keep winning.
When did Sean
Jim
Payton
Harbaugh,
become my boy?
you hate him, so yeah, it's
Oh, I was
just
gonna say. I was like, we are not tight.
it was
Um,
definitely not going to be in the coaching year running. Matt Eberflus really needed that game, man. I felt bad for him because like you fired those C, you're like, oh,
I
things are
feel bad for
changing.
Matt Eberflus. What are you talking
Yeah, but I was
about?
like, you know what? He made the switch. He got the new offensive corner. You thought maybe that's going to save my job, and then boom, that block field goal. It just,
He's got to be sleeping with the owner's daughter or something. Like, there's no way this
I
guy's still
don't know.
employed.
No, I think his tenure's coming to an end.
But um, yeah, just quick hits around the horn here. So the Dolphins beat the Raiders 34-19. Dolphins are still in playoff contention, surprisingly.
It's because the
Um,
AFC is just weird.
weird,
There's
yeah.
three good teams and then a whole bunch of meh.
Yeah. Saints beat the Browns 35-14. Yeah, the Browns are officially dead if they weren't already.
Worst team in
Um,
football? Them or the Panthers?
it might be the Jags.
That's true. Yeah, it's gonna be tough contention.
Um, Colts beat the Jets 28-27, and then the GM was fired. I think today or yesterday. Jets
That is
GM.
the biggest debacle I'd ever seen. We already had their moment of silence last week then, but
Yeah.
this is just comedy at this point. I like Aaron Rodgers is never going to be allowed to step foot in New York again because I don't know who you blame other than him for this.
Yeah, and well, him and but also like I feel like Joe Douglas at this point like wasn't even making any of the calls. Like I feel like the owner was stepping in and like
Yeah.
very Jerry Jones-esque and kind of saying, I want this to happen, I want this to
Well,
happen.
from what you heard with the Salah is like, Woody was obviously in London when he was working as the UK ambassador, and a lot of this stuff was like, Salah came on, Douglas came on, things were happening when he wasn't here. Basically came back, the team was in shambles. It came like a bat out of hell. He's like, everyone is getting fired. I'm pissed off. I'm taking over. I remember seeing a report that was like talking about if Aaron Rodgers comes back, and they're like, Woody apparently wanted to bench Rodgers, but forget, I think it was
I
Salah
saw
or
that, yeah.
Douglas or someone said, no, don't do it. You'll lose the team. Like, it's disrespectful to him. Does Rodgers finish the year starting every game? Because honestly, at this point, who else? Who's next? Do you fire the interim head coach? Because I mean, you've literally gotten rid of everyone at this point.
I don't even know who's even behind Rodgers. Like, what do you
I
bench?
don't.
Oh, Tyrod Taylor, I think is actually. You know what? Tyrod Taylor would probably
He
have give
probably
you a
would do
better chance
better.
than Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, the season's well over. Maybe you just do it out of spite.
No,
But
at
what
this
a
point, yeah, no. With the season like tail spinning as it does, I don't think benching Rodgers does anything, to be honest.
hey, what's his face? Jordan Travis gets healthy. I don't know what his situation. I'd like to see him out there. If he can get healthy, get the young guy out there. But
I don't know. Vikings beat the Titans 23-13. Titans are just not a good team.
yeah, they
Vikings,
stink.
I don't, I mean, Sam Darnold's can't come back down to earth. I think we said that last week, but
Yeah, but we know that the defense was winning games. If
yeah,
they're going to be real, it's the defense, and they continue to look good. They're still the team I thought they were. My opinion
okay,
hasn't changed.
okay. Like Packers beat the Bears 20-19 on a blocked field goal at the end of the game.
When
Um,
do you see block field goals? Now we've seen
back
back-to-back
to back,
game
yeah,
winning.
crazy.
Crazy.
The Lions made the Jaguars their bitch 52-6. Oh man.
That's- Dan Campbell has no mercy.
No, he does not.
He just runs up the
Yeah,
score.
he loves a good score.
Yeah,
Um,
he's oof, brutal.
Patriots, I thought had a chance here in this game, but the Rams held on and won 28-22. So their playoff hopes are still very much alive.
I'm sorry, Patriots showing a little bit more life. They,
They've been playing hard the last couple of weeks for sure.
Drake May looks pretty good. Not gonna
He's
lie,
coming
this
up.
rookie class
They
is
the
looking
rookie,
okay.
you know what's it's flipped. It started out with all the quarterbacks looked pretty bad except for Caleb. And then Caleb and then Jaden Daniels obviously, but he's in a league of his own. Caleb started to come down a little bit back to earth, and then Bo Nix um
Drake May.
Drake May have started to like play really well. So
Caleb has been looked the worst out of all of them.
yeah,
It's pretty crazy.
he's not been great. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. Uh Touched on it. The Steelers beat the Ravens 18-16. The Steelers did not even score a touchdown. They kicked field goals. So
They beat the Ravens without scoring a touchdown. Joe Burrow throws 9 touchdowns and didn't win a single game. Like, that is the Bengals in a nutshell this year.
the to let Jamar Chase have 264 receiving yards and still beat the Bengals, and then to have who's a Steelers kicker, Chris Boswell or something, kick six field goals on you.
He did
Oh boy.
not to spoil anything. He got some serious consideration for the stud list. I'm not gonna
Oh.
lie.
Mm.
I was very close. But you know what? Since we mentioned him, I know it's Sunday night, but let's just skip ahead. I'm taking away the title of most entertaining team because Sam Darnold and Brian Flores defense, they aren't as exciting as they
Mm.
used to be. The
Mhm.
Vikings are no longer must-see TV.
Oh
The
no.
Bengals, the Bengals
The
are
Bengals,
must-see
they are
TV
must see TV.
because somehow they were getting crushed, had one of the best comebacks in team history, and
Hmm.
then still ended up losing.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some very yeah, so that was Sunday night. Chargers won 34 over the Bengals to 27. And that was like I was
24
like,
to 6 at half.
yeah,
It
Chargers
was
were like
27 to 6, 27 to 6 in the third quarter. And then they tied the game like 10 minutes later.
y'all remember that playoff game that we blew? You want to see us do it again? Like it was like deja vu, but
It's
they're
insane. T.
also
Higgins,
such a weird team.
148 yards and a touchdown. Joe Burrow gives you a 356 and three tutties, and
Insane.
they
Their
the
defense is
Bur-
terrible though.
very ironically, the Bengals remind me of the Chargers the last couple of years, like the pre-Harbaugh Chargers. They
Lots of
have four
offense.
very good players. Not even that.
Hmm.
They Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Trey Hendrickson. Very good players.
Hmm.
Awesome players. The rest of
Awesome.
the team stinks. The Chargers the same way. Herbert, Mack, Bosa, Derwin James. All
Mm.
awesome players. The
Keenan.
team stunk. Sure, yeah, Keenan Allen. I mean, the idea stays the same. Four
Sure.
to five really good players, but the rest of the team stinks.
Yeah. It's they're in they're not completely out of the playoffs right now. Like they can still
I
make
was
a
going to ask
run.
you, do we have a
No.
morning for them? But
I
all
think the
right, fair
Bengals are
enough.
still in
Fair
it.
enough. Fair
They
enough.
just got to start putting some W's instead of L's. But and then
Can't miss them. They're on
yeah.
TV. Throw them on.
Um great game. Bills beat the Chiefs 30-21, ending the Chiefs' undefeated season. Um Broncos beat the Falcons. This was a
I don't know where this
surprising
came
score.
from.
38-6. I was like, who the hell are the Broncos and what the hell happened to the Falcons? They
What
lost back to
are
back.
you more impressed by the Broncos or more disappointed with the Falcons?
That's a great question.
Because I'm not gonna lie, the Broncos are somehow like, well, 6-5, nothing crazy. They're actually the same record now. The Falcons and the Broncos are both the
I think
same
I'm
record, which
more disappointed in the Falcons because Kirk Cobain was supposed to come in here and he's been kind of meh the last two games that they've lost. I don't know. They've kind of weird, but
the South was this division in the first 4 weeks in the season that we thought, all right, this might be the best division of football. And lately, it's like this. This is a kind of a crappy team. The Buccaneers, I think, are good, but they're just so banged up.
yeah, they have so many injuries. And then I mean your team that you have been riding with, Seahawks beat the 49ers 20-17.
Big win. I
49ers
was
are looking
I was pretty
rough.
impressed. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The only thing I'm holding on to is the Seahawks right now because the Bengals Super Bowl pick, or the Bengals being my takeoff team and the Dolphins being my other surprise team, not looking great. Not as bad as your Panthers 9 wins, but
I
I'll
mean,
I'll take the Seahawks.
they didn't lose this week, so that's good.
It's true. It's very true.
They also didn't win. They didn't play. And then Monday night, God, I mean, Commissioner Goodell, please take the fucking Cowboys off of prime time. We don't want to watch them anymore.
This is going to be like the Jets last year. Like I haven't
Yeah,
looked at
I
the schedule,
remember.
but
Yeah, the
you just
Jets.
know
Yep,
the Cowboys are
that's
going to be
right.
on every game. Like, it's not like it's even Sunday night. It's like Thursday and Monday that you can't flex.
But
That
yeah,
was embarrassing.
so the Texans won 34-10. There was a piece of metal fell from the ceiling of the Cowboys Stadium, and I think that got more yards than CD Lamb did. So,
Oh, look at how quick with the zip. Yeah,
mm,
that's nice.
mm.
Reminds me of when the Commanders had, remember their railing broke or something and everyone fell in Jalen
Oh
Hurts.
yeah, yeah. No,
This kind of
well, he
reminds me of this.
dodged
The
it, but
team's
yeah, that was
falling apart and the building's falling apart.
last week. Well, the week before they had the problem with the sun. This week they had the problem with falling debris. It's like what's going on
Which
in
situ
Jerry World?
which fan base do you feel is more tormented? The Jets or the Cowboys?
Ooh,
Focusing on like this season, or recent, like so, last season, this season, next season. I think it's
I,
tough. Like
I
they both
got
have talent.
honestly, it's weird because at least the Cowboys do win games, but now they're really not.
That's
But
true. Yeah.
I think the Jets, I think it's worse for Jets fans because they were in like this is all I'm saying. Like Cowboys fans, at least they get to the playoffs. The Jets like were in absolute misery for years and years and years. And then finally, this is supposed to be their golden boy, their shining hope. And they have a great defense and a really good running back. And now they have Devontae Adams and like Hall of Fame quarterback, and they are just dog shit. Like, I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's the
Aaron
Jets
Rodgers,
fans.
Aaron Rodgers is going to leave this team worse than it was before he got here.
I don't think he's gonna leave, but it would be fucking hilarious
I can't
if
see
he
him.
just
There's
retired.
There is absolutely no way he plays next year.
Well,
I
I think
can't see
next
it.
year is I think the last year of his contract already.
Yeah, if
So
I'm a new coach, like a new coach and new GM coming, I do not want Aaron Rodgers. Why? Do not let me come in. Let me draft a new quarterback or bring someone else in. Do not waste one of my years
I'm pretty
under,
I'm,
as a head coach with him.
I'm pretty sure Zach Wilson has a better starting career wins as a
Uh,
Jet.
See, that's the thing. Like you have, like there is talent. Like Wilson, Hall. I mean, if Sauce figures that out again, he's still good. Quinn Williams.
Mm,
Like they have young talent that's good.
for sure.
They just need to like clear out the veteran bums. Get rid of
Veteran muck.
Lazard. Get rid of Aaron Rodgers.
Animals are
Tyrone
so bad.
Smith. Tyrone Smith looks like a shell of himself. Move on from him.
Yeah,
Um, there's probably some defensive guys you can clean up. Devontae Adams has no place on this team really once Rodgers is gone. It's just if you're a new head coach, why would you want Aaron Rodgers? This has been
true.
such a disaster. This is like the situation with Russ and Denver. I mean, obviously Peyton inherited Russ because they had more invested in him than the Jets did with Rodgers, but
Hmm.
he doesn't look good. The
No,
team is in disarray. Like, why would you want to inherit that? It's clearly not working. What makes you think you're going to fix that? At least the Broncos had the foresight to listen to Peyton and be like, all right, fine. We'll eat all this money. We'll move on from it. You start from the beginning or whatever.
true.
And hell, their situation looks a lot better than the Jets right now.
Yeah, it's but hey, I mean, I don't really, I'm not cheering for the Jets to be bad. I just don't like Rodgers. But I
No,
have some friends that are Jets fans, so I feel bad for them. But
it just doesn't make sense. Like, I also don't see which team outside the Jets would actually be interested in Aaron Rodgers. He's a diva. He's going to be a pain in the ass. He's hurt. He's not looking very good. Like, that's the thing. You get the whole sideshow.
I don't know, the AFL maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
But it is nice seeing 49ers and Cowboys in absolute misery. So I love it. But on that note, Eagles are still winning. So we might as well keep starting off with the studs.
Good
So,
times rolling.
mhm.
Good times rolling. Alrighty. Well, this one we got all offense for us this week, and
Oh,
three different positions. I'm
hmm.
a man of mystery. We're gonna kick this one off with, I mean, someone from you put up 52 points. Someone from your offense has to make the stud list. I think like I have to. It's like I have to always give Derrick Henry consideration. I got to put someone in from a 52 point shellacking.
Fair.
Now, Jared Goff, 24, 29, 4 touchdowns. It's impressive. You know, you almost have more touchdowns than any completions. But I'm going to go with St. Brown here. 11 receptions, 161, and two tutties.
Hmm.
Very, very impressive game, I gotta say. This Lions team is just taking off. Best offense in football, confidently.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not even a question.
yeah, they're pretty good. I know everyone
The
was
Ravens when they're clicking are up there, but I think the Lions are
their passing game
tier
is just
one.
insane. They air it out against
Even
everyone.
they have two starting running backs. So
That's true. I mean, yeah, they have no weakness. Offensively, they literally have no weakness.
no.
I like St. Brown,
Oh,
Jameson
their line's
Williams.
good.
As long as Williams can just stay on the field.
He also
Yeah,
had 100 yards.
well, yeah, first game. I think it was the first game back from suspension.
No, I think did he get suspended again?
Yeah, he got suspended for PEDs.
Oh, that's right.
I say the guy just can't stay on the field.
Early Lane Johnson.
Yeah. So yeah, Amon St. Brown coming in at the third stud of the week.
Okay.
I would say he wasn't a surprise. St. Brown, you probably expect he's like, how good the Lions are. They're pretty much a week in, week out stud contenders every week. Now this one came out of complete left field. I mean, this was in a different stadium. I didn't see this coming. And what's wild is this is now the second New Orleans Saint to make the stud list in the last 3 weeks, I think it is, or maybe 2 weeks.
Really?
Well, yeah, the last 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure we have had back-to-back studs on the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
And I'm pretty salty about this one because I there must have been only one person in all of the ESPN fantasy leagues in the world that started Taysom Hill at tight end. And it was the dude I played who had George Kittle on injured. And
Incredible.
Taysom Hill, man, like the guy, he had 138 yards rushing for 3 touchdowns on 7 carries. Like, oh my, like how? How do you let Taysom Hill? That's something that Derrick Henry would be proud of. A 20-yard a clip on average? How?
He was that guy growing up that was the first person picked whenever you did like school sports and like recess and stuff and gym.
I mean, he does the
Pure
cute little run
athlete.
every once in a while. I mean, he also had 50 yards receiving, which forget that. Like he's always been like the cute little running package player, gets him here and there. I think he's better in the receiving game. He kind of gets those fullback, sneaky little passes. 138 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. That is insane. Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Taysom Hill back-to-back weeks. What world are we living in?
Go figure.
Now, the Taysom Hill and St. Brown, I got to be honest, both were very, very worthy of a number one stud position. And I debated hard on who this would be. But I got to be honest, this one felt right. I wanted to give him his flowers. This was out of nowhere. I got to be honest, I'm shocked how good he's doing. Not that the bar was set too high, but 28 of 33, 307 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns, and a 38 to 6 beatdown. Go with Bo Nix here. Give the
Wow.
rookie his love. I mean,
Wow.
that's a hell of a game in very, very convincing fashion. Very impressive.
Impress.
Got to
Hmm.
give him, got to give the rookie the studs position. I'm a nice guy. I look out. St. Brown will be here every other week. Taysom Hill, I'm still a little salty about my matchup against him, so I'll give the rookie it. Bo Nix, how surprised are you? I think everyone, how surprised are you by what he's doing? And do you think he's legit?
Well, I was gonna say, first of all, I was actually pretty surprised you didn't put Saquon on your list, but I guess that's because what he
Saquon's in
does is
Derrick
very,
Henry territory.
it's like
Yeah,
not
he
even,
Barkley and Henry are in the same
yeah,
territory. Like I'll
they're,
just give you
they're
like a weekly update on what they're
yeah,
doing because they're a stud every single week.
they're the honorary studs. Um, yeah, I mean the way the beginning of the season was going, he was like throwing a lot, but he wasn't like they weren't like downfield passes. I think one game he had like 12 completions for like 46 yards, and you're like, what the fuck is he doing? But he's settled in, and as some rookies do, they get a good feel for the game after playing half a season, and he's playing pretty well, And the Broncos are, their defense can step up and be really good, and they got a young running back now. I don't know what the fuck happened to Javante Williams, but
Yeah, that
all of
was
a sudden
weird.
he doesn't get the ball.
Sean Payton's that type of guy though. He's got that Belichick vibe.
Oh
He'll
yeah,
switch on someone for no reason.
he's Bounty
But
Gate
I
Belichick.
Yeah, Bo Nix is like the perfect Peyton quarterback too. After we saw what happened with Russ,
Hmm.
this is exactly what we need. He needs someone that is safe, throws the quick pass, the short pass, don't make mistakes. But ever since he yelled at Peyton on the sideline, great things.
Oh yeah,
Great things.
oh
Russell
yeah.
Wilson would never yell at Sean Payton on the sideline. And I think Sean Payton likes that.
He's a little submissive.
Yeah. So we're going with Bo Nix. Well deserved.
All
Big week
right,
for the studs. I thought it was a all in all solid one. So
cool.
moving on.
The
I'm just going to
Duds.
start this off with just get this one out of the way.
Hmm.
He's not on the list. I mean, he's like the honorary dud. And obviously you know what's the most important thing to get you on the dud list?
Lose your job or get fired.
Correct. And I mean, him and like Gardner Minshew have been like died and risen more than the Undertaker. But I think it's official. Daniel Jones definitely doesn't have his job anymore. But he could be on the dud list literally every single week. So I didn't put him this week. So we're just gonna give him one little mention and then move on. Third dud
I
though.
will say though, real quick, it is funny that you mentioned the Raiders because every time I see Raiders highlights of the game, I'm like looking at what number the quarterback's wearing to see who they decided to go with this week because they just pick the names out of a hat. I feel like so like
Yeah.
he played terrible and I benched him, but I'm gonna put him back out there next week. I'm like, okay,
I forget who I was watching, but they brought up actually a good point. The Giant, do you know who the Giants backup like quarterback is? Like number two
the
quarterback.
Italian guy.
Nope.
Oh, Drew
Drew
Lock.
Lock.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah. I don't
someone
know.
brought up, which I didn't think like they'd be like, Drew Lock's been there all year. He's been the backup. He's been the number two. He's practiced training camp, this and that. He came there, signed with them for the thought, all right, maybe Daniel Jones will stink or get hurt and I'll have a chance. And instead of putting him in, they went with the meme. They went with the funny guy. They went with the news headline.
Danny,
Like
what is it? Danny
Tommy
Cutlets
Cutlets.
or Tommy
Tommy Cutlets, yeah.
Cutlets? Yeah,
But it's like, dude, what a
definitely not
slap in
Danny.
the face. Like, what a slap in the face. Like, the guy's been there. He's been number two. Like, there's no reason not to put him in there. You probably should have put him in there 3 weeks ago. And as soon as you finally make the choice to switch it, you go with the clown, the guy that just makes headlines. But whatever, it's the Giants.
I
This is
yeah, I
what
didn't
bad
understand.
franchises do.
I think Drew Lock is a decent quarterback, so I didn't really understand the Tommy Cutlet's transition. I mean, that was like
Because it's
3 week.
funny.
It was like 3 weeks of like, oh, this is a funny story, and then it was like, well, okay, but he's not good. And then
Yeah,
his
yeah.
agent was parading the sidelines like he's a mafia boss.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it was
bad
weird.
franchises. This is what
Yeah.
you do. If I was Dable, I'd probably throw a lock, see if I can win some games, maybe save my job, whatever. Moving on. So third dud this week.
Hmm.
And this one, man, talk about I mean, as a sum, his team did absolutely nothing. But
Hmm.
you look at a little more into his numbers and how much of a non-factor he was, and I don't know where we are on for the season here, but I think he's kind of been not underwhelming, but you'd like to see a little bit more. But 12 carries for only 35 yards, that's a 2.9 clip in a game where your team got the crap kicked out of them and only put up 6 points. Going to go with the head guy on this offense. That's going to be Bijan Robinson.
Oh.
Yeah. You can kick
Hmm.
Kirko if you want, but man, Bijan Robinson's got to step up. He's your playmaker. Didn't do much. Gave you 4 catches, but I get it. The game was out of hand, but you'd like to see 12 carries. You do a little bit more with that.
I mean, a running back of his stature should be getting 20, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, when you start dropping as quick as they did, but yeah, I agree with you there. But he wasn't really giving them any reason to give him the ball.
Fair enough.
Moving on, second dud. We're going to the defensive side of the ball this time. Again, this team, the whole defense in general is just rough. But this guy has been getting cooked. Like he's crispier than well done bacon. Cooked all game. And I actually thought he was a pretty good player last year and thought he was a guy maybe on the rise to keep an eye out. Nah,
Hmm.
man, this lad McConkey was having his
Oh, he
way.
was
Quentin
white
Johnson was
boy running
having his
wild.
way. Like not really murderer's row of of wide receivers, but I swear every single big play, Cam Taylor Britt was in the shadows, nowhere near the ball, or just getting called for penalties.
Hmm.
So I'm going with Cam Taylor Britt here of the Bengals, who's just been getting destroyed.
Yeah, that was a rough. Like I said, that they got. I think Hilton's a good corner, and obviously they have Henderson, but like beyond that, Bengals need a lot of help on that defense.
Yeah, they are
Should have paid Jesse
rough.
Bates.
Uh, should have done something. But that's where we're at. So offense, defense, number one dud is neither offense, defense, not on the field,
Hmm.
but he is a guy who lost his job. And unfortunately, it comes to
Classic.
the end. 6 years somehow. It was after the Super Bowl year, he went and took over the job with the Jets, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean the Eagles are probably going to try and hold on to him as long as they could, and then he was going to get a GM job eventually. So
I mean, wouldn't hate if he wants to come back and be a little Howie minion. But we're gonna go with Mr. Joe Douglas, who is the latest victim of Woody Johnson's temper
he's
tantrum.
just the scapegoat. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, to be fair, they've been pretty terrible for the
I
last
mean,
6 years.
I thought he put
He's done
together.
okay.
I thought he put together a good team. They just haven't performed well. So,
He's
but
very
hey, I
hit or
mean,
miss.
yeah,
The team stinks. The record's been really bad as 6 years.
yeah,
He's hit on some good picks like Sauce, Hall, Wilson, Williams. Obviously, have all been good. But then you think about it, he's also missed. Like those are all first round picks. Like his first round picks have been good. Mekhi Becton's
yeah,
great with the Eagles now, but he was terrible with the Jets.
yeah.
They've drafted some other bums. But then, the whole Reddick thing was just a complete embarrassment. I don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
happened there. The whole Rodgers idea in general was a horrible idea. So I think this is probably deserving. I think his leash was pretty long in general. So Joe Douglas finds his way on top of the dud list this week and unemployed.
fair enough. All right, good list, good list. Quickly run through our uh. I just blacked out for a second. Too much whiz segment, probably because I'm hungry and I need to eat. So after this, I will eat. But starting off, talked about this very briefly earlier. Too much whiz. Matt Eberflus will be fired before the season's over.
Yeah, I'm buying that.
Oh,
Yeah.
even with how many games we have left, you still think they're gonna be like, yeah, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because you know what? I still think the Bears look at this as a playoff team. because all the moves they made. And the NFC's not super strong. We talked on that. Like they're not going to win the division, but they could probably sneak in the wild card if they could just some wins together.
Yeah.
Plus, more than anything, after all the debacles they've had with Trubisky and Fields, you're not going to waste your time. I feel like Caleb might be, might hurt Caleb a little bit to fire Eberflus now, but uh, he's making it tough to really keep him. I think they're really focused on making the playoffs this year after all the moves they made that they would fire Eberflus.
Now that I think about it, there's been a lot of interesting quarterbacks that have played for the Chicago Bears. We had Jay Cutler,
Good
uh,
one. Kyle
Trubisky,
Orton.
like you said, Kyle Orton, Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But
This one's gonna be the ultimate test. I mean, I thought Caleb was way overhyped when he came in,
yeah,
but not necessarily that he was a bad quarterback or bad
agreed.
prospect.
Agreed.
If they mess this one up, then they've really got a problem because they really, I mean, they invested in the wide receiver. They've got the best wide receivers they've had in franchise history.
Oh, without doubt.
The offense line's still shaky, but you fired the offense coordinator. I mean, I really think they want to go on the playoff push. Otherwise, you have
Yeah.
a lame duck walking. Eberflus is going to be gone at the end of the year anyway.
Yeah, they still I feel like they still really haven't even gotten a Dunze involved as much as he could be for being a top 15 pick. But I don't know. Maybe I think they need a whole off season of like dealing with this and then they can,
Yeah, I think the
right to
move
ship.
is
But
you're firing Eberflus either this season or off season, and you're
yeah.
bringing in an offensive guy for Caleb. So
Yeah.
might as well. I mean, listen, you fire him in the middle of the season, you get your first pick, and you start putting your feelers out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Next point. Too much whiz. The Steelers are actually a Super Bowl contender.
Not buying it, not yet.
Wow.
They're not. Russ looks
They're like
okay.
eight and
He's
two.
not. Yeah, but they're still probably. I still think the Ravens are better than them, even though they just beat them. They're still what fourth in the AFC? Bills, Chiefs, Ravens.
No, they're ahead of the Ravens.
No, no, no. I mean, like power rankings. I
Oh,
I know that they beat the
yeah,
Ravens, but the Ravens I still think are a better team.
sure.
Not buying it yet. Russ, he looks better than what he did. Offense isn't really firing. Pickens is good. Najee Harris is very average. Offensive line's not very good. Defense is solid, but Super Bowl contender, I mean, that means you got to beat the Bills. You got to beat the Ravens again. You got to beat the Chiefs. Not
Mhm.
ready there.
All right. And my final one, which is a great segue from your studs list. Too much whiz. Bo Nix is a legit threat to Jaden Daniels winning Rookie of the Year.
I'll buy in. I'll say yeah.
Okay.
Daniel's been on a cold streak. You
Hmm.
knew this was going to catch up to him. I think we had talked about this weeks ago, that eventually we thought Daniels was going to come to Earth. So I think it's pretty early in the season. Comes to Earth now, and Knicks could maybe get the Broncos in the playoffs. Be a good talk.
We'll see. We will see. Alrighty. So that's our studs and duds and our too much whiz segments. Moving on, we're gonna do our live power rankings here. So I think obviously we need to make a change at number one. I would say that the Lions should be number one,
Cool with that.
and that the Bills should be number two,
Fair.
and then I would put the Chiefs at three.
Yeah, you're not dropping them farther than that.
No, um, I'd actually have four or five Eagles, Steelers, Ravens at six.
Yeah. I'd give the nod to the Steelers a 4 just because they knocked off the Ravens. That was a huge win.
You want Steelers over the Eagles?
Yeah, I know we beat Washington, but I think the Ravens are on another level than Washington is.
All right. No, I won't complain about that. Um, so Ravens at six. Then I would say Commanders on a bye this week, right? Um,
Yes. Packers,
Packers, yeah.
Rams,
Mm, no.
Texans.
I would say Packers. Packers at 7. How about Packers 7, Vikings 8, Commanders 9, and then 10, I would say Cardinals or Chargers.
Chargers. Harbaugh's got this team looking good.
Okay. I mean, Chargers, I mean, we put the Cardinals in our top 10 and then we kicked them out and they didn't even play. It's kind of fucked up. But all right. Yeah, Chargers are weird. I don't understand how they're good,
Jim
but
Harbaugh, man.
coaching is was working and I think this might be the last week for buys because my one fantasy team, half of my team is on a buy. And I just traded away Aaron Jones, and I was like, "Well, fuck! Now I don't have a running back to start, so I have
Hmm.
to start like the Seahawks backup." But
There you go. Well,
yeah, so we'll see how everything shakes out. But all right, it's good PR right there. And then rolling into our game picks, I have been struggling the last couple weeks.
love it.
Um, Congratulations, Tim! You are the first to hit 100 wins this season.
Look at that.
You have taken the lead over me. I'm very depressed about this.
About time.
It only took you half the season, but
Yeah, I'm not going to give it back.
so last week I went 7-7.
You want what?
Um I went 7-7.
Yikes.
And I'm sitting at 98-67 overall. You went 11-3. I don't know.
Wow, I'm on a heater.
And then last week you were 10-4. Week
I'm killing it.
before 9-6. So you've been improving every week.
You got
Um
11-2 this week.
so you are 165. So you have a 2 game lead on me, but
Good.
and then our guest picks is in third place at 96-69 overall. Nice.
Respectable.
A-Core was our guest picker. He did 195. It's good. It's a good record.
I mean, you make them look better when you go 7-7.
Well, I've been getting a little too frisky with my picks. Just trying to make sure we're separated on something. But I'm gonna lock in this week. So
All right, go with what you say.
so starting off, we are in week 12. Can you believe that shit?
Yeah.
All right. Thursday night football. We have Steelers at the Browns. Hmm.
Oh, Steelers. Party keeps going.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Pittsburgh here. Then starting off on Sunday, we have Titans and the Texans.
Oof. Texans got to beat up on the Cowboys on national TV. They're going to keep the good time rolling. They're going to beat up on another bad team.
Yeah, this almost feels like a trap game for Houston that they could lose, but I'm not gonna gamble on that, so I'm taking the
Not a
Texans.
division game. Not against a division team.
Vikings at the Bears. This is interesting.
See, I'm leaning towards what two ways. They look good against the Packers. Looked
Hmm.
a lot more inspired. They obviously fired the offensive coordinator. Makes me think that they could beat the Vikings, especially because the Vikings haven't looked like they did in the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Then the other side of me thinks, man, that was a deflating loss. A loss where it might be tough to get back up and get riled up for this game.
They've lost on a Hail Mary and a blocked field goal.
Oh yeah, that's tough. That's really. But you know what? Where's it at? In Chicago?
It's in Chi-Town.
I'm gonna give him this one. I'm gonna give him this one.
Okay.
I think there's gonna be, good speech. Usually you fire a coach and coordinator in lights a fire. I think they're gonna show up. They feel like they can play. The other way you can flip this is, hey, we're one bad Hail Mary and a field goal away from knocking off two playoff teams.
True. Um, I'm not gonna be so nice. I'm gonna take the Vikings because they're
Fair
just a better
enough.
team. But I do think it's a if the Bears win, it'll be a very like impressive game. And but maybe if you're a Bears fan, you want them to lose because then Eberflus is more likely to get fired. So
It's true.
next game, Cowboys at the Commanders. I'm gonna take
Ooh,
Washington off a
this is what
bye.
we call a get right game.
Yeah. Or not up, they weren't off a bye, but it's just a long week from Thursday. But yeah, Commanders will win that one. Patriots at the Dolphins.
Listen, I was on the Dolphins in the beginning of the
You
season.
were,
Tua's
yeah.
back.
They're playing
I think
well.
they're fine. They're finding their groove. I don't think the Patriots can score with them when the Dolphins are scoring, so I'll go Miami.
I will also go with the Dolphins. Next, we might have. You might want to write this down. This might be the greatest get right game ever put together.
Hmm.
Chiefs at the Panthers.
Yeah, the universe doesn't line that up any better.
I'm
With
gonna
that,
take.
I mean, with that
Should I take
notion,
Carolina?
I mean, with that thinking, do we lose to the Rams and then get our get right game against the Panthers?
Do we
Or no, I think it's
No, we
the
play the Ravens after. I
yeah,
think
it's
it's
true.
Rams, Ravens, Panthers, Steelers. I think.
That sounds about right. Yeah, go on Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go Casey. Buccaneers at the Giants. I think the Bucks were on a bye last week.
They
Um,
were.
and I think Mike Evans is back, but they're playing the Giants, so I'm going to take the Buccaneers.
They don't need Mike Evans. They're going to win anyway.
Yeah.
And take the Bucks.
Lions at the Colts.
Man, they might put up 60 this time. They're going to abuse another AFC South team. I'm going Lions.
I'm almost tempted to take the Colts here just for the hell of it because it'll be a random
Oh,
game, but
please do.
no, I can't. Broncos at the Raiders. The Raiders have shown me absolutely nothing to ever think that they could even upset a team. So I'm going to take the Broncos.
The Raiders are like there is a very tight like the race for being the worst team in football is really tight right now. And the
Hmm.
Raiders are definitely in that race. I'll take Denver.
Cardinals at the Seahawks. I, the
Ride or
Cardinals are
die.
playing well. I mean, Kyler is now an MVP discussion, but yeah, I like Seattle at home, honestly. So I'll
Hey,
take.
I'm a ride or die. I got to stick them.
All right. Next game, 49ers at the Packers. A lot of important games this week.
You know what? They two playoff teams, I think going in two different directions. I think the Packers will look good.
Mhm.
Didn't look great this week, but they found a way to win. Niners just look off. I'm taking Green Bay.
I think this is a game that I'm going to do whatever the opposite because I think it was a coin flip. So as much as I don't want to pick them, I think the Niners, if they lose this, they're going to lose a lot of ground because Seattle or Arizona is going to
They just don't they
take the
don't
lead
look
in
like
their
they're
division.
gelling. I mean,
I mean,
McCaffrey's
they're
back,
not.
but Kittle's hurt. You know, Ayuk's now like they just look off.
Debo cries,
It's true. Chokes out
but
the snapper.
um. So yeah, I'll take 49ers. Eagles at the Rams. Oh, it's Sunday Night Football. I didn't realize that.
Yep, go Birds.
All right, go Birds. And then Ravens at the Chargers, Monday Night Football. Is this the Ravens get right game?
Yeah, you can't. Chargers run defense, I think, is in for a long day. They're not. The run defense isn't very good. So I think Derrick Henry's gonna have a fun time.
All right. Well, we had two games that we were in disagreement about. And so that'll work perfectly. As long as I get right on those ones, we'll be tied. So
There you go.
all right. And that is our game picks. Um yeah, I can't believe I didn't realize the game was on Sunday night for the Birds.
Ugh, I know it's the worst.
What time is that for you?
Too
2 a.m.?
late.
Too late. But you got to stay up for your Birds. Just drink 8 cups of coffee and you'll be all right.
No, it's true. I did it for Thursday night, so I'll do it for Sunday.
All right. Well, on that note, go Birds and peace out.
Peace.